Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Turbo coin. We can see, whoa, Turbo is looking a little different if I do say so myself, but absolutely fantastic. We could see that, there's nothing new really to post about Turbo when it comes from the news, but we can see that we are getting good and consistent views of 5 to 7 8,000, right? We can see that even from 3 hours ago they posted Turbo Uphold from Uphold Inc, right? 13,000 views. That's what I'm saying. Exposure. We're almost at 113,000 followers on Twitter, which is what we love to see. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, that we pretty much had a rally, let's just say from Sunday and Monday, right? We had those insane pumps at the start of the week, but we are slowly, selling off, right? We are slowly selling off. And, this is what we said, right? This is what we said on the Monday and Tuesday was that, look, there's a preparation for another pump, for another potential rally. But we were saying how we needed to close above this high over here, right? We did say that we needed to close above this high. Anything closing below this high would be an indication that it is more bearish. Now, is it bearish long term? No, but short term, a couple days, a week or two, yeah, So we can see, right? We talked about in the last video how it failed to go up higher, and ever since then, we can see that we have been creating consistent lower and lower highs, right? Boom, lower high. We go here, boom, lower high, right? Boom, right? We have pretty much a double high over here, boom, but it's also a lower high. So it's clear as day that Turbo is selling off still consistently, okay? Nothing has changed. Now, here's the only here's the only thing that is still kind of holding Turbo is this bottom over here. We still technically haven't created a lower low from this point. Now, there is a high probability that we will, just because the data consistently suggests that we are failing to go higher each time. And of course, every time we fail to go higher each time, there's a higher and higher probability of us going just lower. That's just how the markets work. All right, so we could even technically see a little pump up to, let's just say, boom, right over here, 0.00573 before we possibly make an attempt. Now, I will say though, I will say one thing, all right? If we do consistently kind of consolidate, if we do go sideways consistently around 0.0054, and we don't really create a lower low than this point over here, then that could be potential reversal signs, okay? That could be potential reversal signs. Either way, Turbo for me is still looking to practically create a big rally and another pump over the next coming weeks. I will say though, as a weekly candle, I don't like the way it's closing. I really don't, right? It is a fairly big rejection. Even when we had this pump over here, right? If we take it from the Fibonacci tool, take it from the top to the bottom, right? You can see that we still had clearly over 61% of the candle. We roughly had, 70 to 72% of the candle, which is a lot. At this current moment, we don't probably even have 50% of the actual body, right? I can clearly see we don't even have 50% of the actual body. So that's actually very not ideal when it comes to candle closes. So we do want Turbo to have a stronger Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? Like this is actually pretty dreadful. I won't lie. Okay. This is actually pretty dreadful. We're not even at a halfway point, right? We are a big rejection. And if we were to close like this, technically, we would have a boom right over here, a high over here, and a lower high, right? We would have a lower high. So we do want to see some type of lifeline, even if it's just for one day, right? Even if it's just for one day, we do want to see some type of lifeline just to at least close a little bit higher, right? If we can close around the 0.61 area, that would be ideal because we would be above this high over here and things would look a lot more solid. Now, I still think on the monthly, right, overall, we should be good because we do have this low over here, right? We do have the higher low And I expect overall markets to be bullish the next couple of months, right? We expected on this channel for a while now that probably like late summer to maximum late fall is where we're going to top out. So I still expect things to, continue to go up higher and higher. Plus, we also have this big support, right? We also have this big support. So there's a lot of indications. There's a lot of things that suggest that Turbo will be pumping up higher and higher, even if this week isn't going to be the strongest. Now, overall, right? Overall, what is happening with Turbo, right? We are just preparing for another leg. Whether or not we sell off more, right? Or continue to kind of just be in this trend line, we ultimately are expecting to go up higher. So, right, all of this movement, right, all of this movement over here, if I could do this properly, I don't really use this rectangle, boom, right, all of this is just going to be a preparation for us to go up higher, okay? It's very, very simple, right? We've seen something similar before where every time we kind of have, some type of rally, right, there's a decent pullback, but the pullback is just a spring to shoot higher, right? It is just a spring to shoot higher, okay? In this context, of course, we're just constantly creating lower and lower highs here consistently, but it was the same thing. We sold off, we sprung, and we tried to shoot up, right? Right? We're up here, we sold off, boom, eventually shot up, right? We go up, we went below this zone over here, boom, right? We went below this zone over here, and then we shot up. And it's going to be just the same process over and over again until we finally get to the all-time highs, where we will be looking to be creating really, really nice highs, right? This resistance over here is going to be the biggest test, right? This is going to be the difference between a 2-cent turbo and a 20-cent turbo, is this resistance, right? How are we going to manage over the next couple of, few short months, right? Are we going to come up here and just, call it a day and sell off? Or are we simply going to go and smash through this to then really start the big, massive rally? You have to remember that this is one of the biggest resistances, right? So this is going to be the true test for Turbo. For me, for myself, honestly, 2 to 2.5 cent Turbo is more than enough in terms of gains. Do I want more? Obviously, I want more, right? That's like a 4.5x in gains from here. Obviously, I want more because, it's a meme coin at the end of the day. In terms of market cap, right, Turbo should be, in my opinion, easily hitting 10 billion. Easily, right? I know some people find that crazy. I really don't. I think there's going to be the most amount of money ever, and that would be roughly, 25 to 30x from here. So yeah, I do believe that. So if we were, to hit a 20x from here, that would be roughly, 10 cents, 11 cents. The 30x would be 15 cents, right? 10, 15 cents, for me, that is very, very plausible. That seems like a potential reality. I'm actually curious to see what this person thinks over here. So they're looking at a continuation rally to the upside. This was 12 hours ago. Yeah, overall, right? Overall, we are springing to whatever pullbacks we have are simply just going to be preparations for a bigger rally to the upside. I know some people get discouraged. I know some people want to see this type of price action consistently for weeks. That is just not how the markets work. You need to get a grip. All right, that's just the truth. You need to get a grip. If you think the markets are going to be pumping up, 100, 200%, 70%, 80% every week for multiple weeks right now, then no. Is that going to be the prime of altcoin season? Yes, the prime of altcoin season is absolutely crazy. Do not get me wrong. Those 4 weeks are going to be the most insane 4 weeks of your life. And if you're holding Turbo now, you're going to be grateful. You're going to witness history when you do see those 4 amazing weeks. Those 4 weeks are going to be bigger than all of this. All of Turbo's journey right now, everything, all the ups and downs, the scares and everything, those 4 weeks are going to be like 10 times greater than this whole move, right? Literally, like this whole move from the bottoms to here to up here, it's going to be greater. Okay, it simply will be. The markets are insane during those 4 to 6 weeks. That is when it's literally the peak of the peaks. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are excited for it because I am too. It is just a few short months away. I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.